Hey everybody, we're just going to jump right into it today. If you watched my last video, you saw I've been a little obsessed with the Octachainer. It's just opened up a world of options as far as what you can do loading samples into it. So it got me thinking, one of the things that I can't really do on the Octatrack is do like chord progressions and stuff like that with samples. I mean, there's sample packs out there for stuff like that, but wanted to kind of create my own. So what I came up with is I used my Sequential Circuits Rev2, and I'll show you what I made, and then we'll get into different ways to use this tool and how I made it. So basically what I did is I recorded a bunch of chords, which you'll see later how I did it, and then I put them all on their own octachain. So now if we go to our slices, we're in the slice grid here now. And I got 2 pages of chords, and I got a bunch of different loaded up here, so you'll get to see some examples, but I literally loaded up 5 of them, and you can't load up too many of them because the chains are pretty long, so it does take up a lot of sample memory. But I got 3 drum loops here, or a kick drum and a couple drum loops, and I was able to load 5 of them in. So, and with just literally just fooling around in about 5 minutes or less, I came up with these few little. Here's a different one. So I came up with those progressions, like I said, just jamming out on this little tool that I made here with the Octachains. I'm calling them the chord slicers. And let me just show you kind of the possibilities with something like this. So there's 2 ways that you can actually use it. One is the way that I was showing you earlier, which we'll come back to in just a second, because I think that's the most powerful. But you can also go to chromatic mode, and then whatever slice you have, which is the chord, then you'll transpose that up and down. Unmute it here. So you can see. So that's cool because you can just use the same chord and transpose it up and down. Now all these chords, and you'll see here at the end when I show you how I made it, I picked them myself. They were just chords that I really like the sound of. So I'll show you a list, and the list will also be available with the download. If you really like this and you just want to jump ahead and download this, sign up for my Patreon. You'll get it for free, or you can hit the link down below for GitHub and just download it from there. So going back to the slices here, some of the cool things you can do is, these are all fixed length, right? But we know if we just go into our amp screen, if we want to make this more staccato, just think of these samples as being like a waveform in your synth, and then you have control over, you know, the amplitude. You have control over the filter. And we all know you can control the filter through the envelope and all that stuff. And then of course we got effects, you know. I created 20 of these with some of my favorite polyphonic patches from my Dave Smith Rev2, Sequential Rev2. So you got that, and then parameter locks too. So when you're recording them in, you can record, you know, have like some of the notes be shorter and some of them be longer. Because however you have the amp set up, one of the frustrating things about the Octatrack sometimes is when you're playing in samples, when you're actually in the let me just go ahead, for example, I'll clear out this sequence. So you heard when I was playing it, it's a lot shorter than, so sometimes you have to go back in. So I'll make those a little bit shorter. So if I wanted the last one here to be longer, you know. So with the parameter locks, with the effects, with the amp and the envelope filters, like I said, just think of these chords, these chord chops as kind of being the basis for creating like a chord progression. Then you can really kind of use the Octatrack's power as kind of like a synthesizer. So I hope that give you kind of an idea where you can go with this, and I'll cut that apart and just show you real quick how I made these. Obviously, stuff like this is a little painstaking process. So what I did here is I used Scalar 2. If you guys aren't familiar with Scalar, it is a really cool plugin for shortcuts like this, for learning music theory and stuff like that. So what I did is all these are in the key of C, just for convenience. That way, if you transpose them, and that's one other thing I forgot to mention real quick. Not only being able to transpose it if you're in chromatic mode, but also obviously you can transpose it right from the pitch. So I'm sure there's all kinds of other things I'm thinking of just because the Octatrack is so open-ended, but that's one other way you can transpose these from the root note also, is from the pitch. But back here to Scalar, I just went through and I picked some chords that sounded really cool to me, ones I just liked the sound of, and I just loaded them up in here, and then I played them in, I recorded them all. I recorded them all on their own separate channel, and then of course I had to chop each individual note. And look back at my last video if you kind of want to see how the Octachainer works. Of course, you have to number those and load them in, as I mentioned before. So it was a bit of a painstaking process, but once you have these, they're just so nice. It's better than just having a sample pack, because they're your own, they're different, and you got all these unique chords, and you can transpose them and do all kinds of stuff with them. And here's just basically how I laid out the chords. So pad 1 through 8 here, these are the chords that are going to be in that on those first few pads. 9 through 16 on the Octatrack on page 1 is going to be these 8 chords. 17 through 24, this will be page 2. The first 1 through 8 will be this, and the 9 through 16 on page 2 will be these. So I hope you guys found this useful. As always, if you got any questions or other ideas, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. Hit the like and subscribe. And like I said, you really want to show some love, support over on Patreon. You'll get this these templates. I guess they're not templates, but these packs for free. And if you don't have an Octatrack, but you just really like this idea, or you want to use it in another sampler, you can see that I made them also available in an unsliced grid. So these are the raw recordings of each one, and you'll be able to load those into any other sampler and chop it up as well. So have a great day. God bless.